We're going to talk about the ethical implications of social media, but let's take a look at how the social media and the First Amendment have intersected with one another. Because we had a case that came up fairly recently with Elonis versus the United States. Now, this was not the definitive case, and a lot of people are kind of unsatisfied with the decision here, but the circumstances were that Anthony Elonis was convicted of making threats to his ex-wife on Facebook. He wrote a multitude of posts. I've given you an example here. Now, he said they were protected because they were artistic expression, and that he's actually a rapper. The court ended up overturning his conviction on statutory grounds, saying that prosecutors have to do more than prove that reasonable people would view the statements as threats. But a lot of people feel that they didn't make a definitive statement about what kind of protection we have on social media. And what we've seen is there are some interesting intersections with free speech and social media. We know that governments have asked Facebook to make content restrictions on posts that kind of ran afoul of some political or religious issues. Twitter has been urged by U.S. lawmakers to delete accounts that are of suspected terrorists. Twitter and Facebook have actually been willing to clamp down. We know that the fact that you are posting things on a private enterprise or even a publicly traded company doesn't provide you with free speech protection. That's only in relation to our interactions with speech in the government. So, you know, in a South by Southwest panel, George Washington University law professor Jeffrey Rosen, he urged Twitter and Facebook to allow as much free speech as the government permits under the First Amendment, but we're not really quite sure if that's going to take place. They've actually shown that they are willing to censor. They're willing to keep violent content out. If people are sharing to make fun of a victim, they're certainly willing to remove it. Twitter has taken down posts or restricted people's ability to use their site on things that they feel are illegal or involve harassment or abuse. These are some of the criteria under Facebook rules, which says that they can decide to take information down. So I've given you this list here. There's actually a complete list in our iTunes U course, so you can get a feel for what exactly that Facebook is willing to censor. We've also had circumstances where what you put on social media has been detrimental to you, and most notably for our academic purposes, we had a situation in Kansas where the Board of Regents adopted a policy that said improper use of social media can actually be grounds for discipline up to and including firing. So these are the examples that they've given. Speech made pursuant to or in furtherance of official duties is subject to essentially complete regulation, and that penalties up to firing may be imposed for any speech deemed contrary to the best interest of the institution. Now that seemed to be a very clear censorship, the idea that if you're publishing things that went against Kansas's views that you could be fired for that, that seems to be certainly a strong First Amendment issue. But the fact is that you can post a lot of things and not everyone has to like it. So the fact that your opinion is now written or photos that you've taken of yourself doing things, just because you have the right to post them and you have a First Amendment right to communicate in that way, the people who are hiring you have a right to use those things and not hire you. So 93% of hiring managers said that they're going to look at your social media profile before making a decision. 55% have reconsidered a candidate based on what they find, and most of the time it's been negative. So the fact is that your job could go away pretty easily. We had a circumstance here. This gentleman was up for a tenure-track position. He posted these tweets related to Israel during the 2014 campaign that was being fought over in Israel, and his tenure-track job was revoked. So really, it becomes a question of you deciding what is enough and what is too much when it comes to communication.